Welcome to another episode of The Gift is the Curse with me, Drew Broughton. Today we're sitting here on a May evening close to the season's end in Richmond upon Thames, looking down over the Thames here. It's a beautiful setting. Tonight's guest is someone I was introduced to back in 2012. He's a young man now, but he was even younger then. It was suggested at that time that I might be able to aid him and assist him at that point in his football journey, that critical part, that period of 18 to 21, that jump between potential and actually fulfilment of talent. Raheem Sterling, the Manchester City forward this year, has really stepped into his own light, and what I found fascinating is he did an interview at the end of the season talking about how between 14, 15, 16, 17 he had so much confidence, but then by 18 he lost it, and that jump from boy with potential into first team was a massive jump for him, and he eventually found it. I was discussing that with another player recently, and I don't think it was a coincidence that he's had Brendan Rodgers, who everybody knows in the game is a manager who's all about emotion and that emotional attachment to his players and that awareness of how important that is, and Pep Guardiola, two of the leaders really in that. So this player I'm sitting with tonight, it could be said he was very similar, flying up 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and then himself, I'd say, probably hit a wall. Cameron Mcgeehan, would I be correct in saying that you hit that wall?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big wall. A lot of stuff's been spoken about recently, especially with mental health, all that sort of stuff. But I think there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of pressure that's put on young players now. And I think it started, from a young age. I was in the academy system from 9 all the way through to now. Where I'm a professional now, and but yeah, like I said, it was just it started there, started early. I'm not sort of your average footballer in terms of I went to a good school. I've got a decent brain behind me. I've academically done quite well, and I think about things a lot. Sort of maybe overthought a lot of stuff, and yeah, sort of like you said, hit a bit of a wall. 18, 19, won the youth cup at 18, and then after that, I was sort of trying to make that transition into the men's game. It's difficult.
Well, let's just go back a little bit, Cam. I mean, when I was introduced to you, it was 5 years ago, and you're now 23 years of age and an established quality footballer in the Football League, and I think the world's your oyster and where he can go. But let's go back, because we are sitting in Richmond upon Thames. I can imagine we both played in the north of the country. I played in Rotherham, and you're up in there in Barnsley. I would be called often, he's a soft southerner, and I was privately school educated, a well brought up guy. I'm intelligent, I'm deep, but inside me was a lion. In fact, my reputation in the lower leagues was quite apparently fearsome, but inside, I'd feel everything. And I can remember at a young age, now I'm 40, I can remember looking back at 8 years of age, I felt a little different. I felt there was something in me, this relentless pursuit. Can you relate to that? Let's take you back to when you were a kid. What's your first memory of feeling different, of feeling like there's this almost burden, this weight on you?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably as long as I can remember, to be honest. I think my dad sort of introduced me to football pretty young. He was obviously a keen football fan. Never quite got anywhere in the game himself, but he obviously lived through me a bit in terms of that. And yeah, since I was sort of 3, 4, he would have chucked a ball at me. We played a lot in the garden, holidays, all that sort of stuff. Started at school, but I just remember always, taking it really badly if we lost or I didn't do well and crying. I've got loads of pictures of me just crying my eyes out after a game if not won.
What age?
Yeah, I said 3, 4, 5. As early as I can remember. I think it's just always been inside me. It's been there for me all this time.
I remember being at school and a school teacher pulling my mum. I think it was 7, 8 years of age, and if I missed a goal, I dropped to my knees and started smashing the floor with my hands. My mum was quite worried. It's so hard to carry that because you don't understand it, do you? Until do we ever understand it? I mean,
yeah, well, it's funny. I've got a video of myself when I was maybe 6, playing for my local team just down the road from where I live. I was in the same team as Luke Shaw. Patrick Roberts was in that sort of team. We had a good team, but there's a video of me and my dad used to film everything. So there's a video of me just sprinting off, celebrating after I've scored, arm in the air, going absolutely mental at 6 years old. And my friend put it together actually, because I scored in the Youth Cup final in the last minute. I did exactly the same celebration. You got the video of me doing it at 18 and me doing it at sort of 5 or 6. And it's exactly the same expression, exactly the same feeling. So, like I said, that's been there for me. It's always that desire or passion for it, and it's been there for me that whole time. But like you said, it gets knocked out of you a little bit along the way.
Well, but before we go into all of that, were you ever described as being intense? Can you remember being young and anyone ever calling you intense, or do you remember feeling intense, or anyone ever comment on
Yeah,
anything?
I think most of the time I've been told you're too intense. It's never like you're intense. It's great. Like it's amazing. I've had a few managers who have liked me and who you know are still in the game now. Like Nathan Jones, for example, he's always said like you're one of the most intense people I've worked with, and you know he was actually complimenting me on it. But over the years, I've had people just saying you're too intense. You need to stop thinking about stuff so much. You need to relax. But now I understand it's just part of me. It's who I am. It's what drives me every day. It's what gets me out of bed in the morning. It's what's made me what I am today. But I've got an understanding around it now, and I can appreciate that's just a great gift.
Absolutely, and it gives you the curse. You know, I was aware that having worked for you for 5 years, I was aware you are one of those. And so let's go back to you're picked up playing football. I think you started at Fulham, is that right? Or you were between Fulham and Chelsea?
Yes, I was at Fulham. Signed for Fulham when I was an under-9, which is the earliest you can start as a young player. So in the academy, I started there at under-9s. I was there for only one season, and I was with another player, Nathaniel Chalobah, who's done well for himself as well. We both were at Fulham. We both got transferred at 10 years old to Chelsea. They paid, I think, £80,000 for both of us in compensation to Fulham. Obviously a big lump of money at the time for a 10-year-old who you've got no idea if he's going to sort of get anywhere. But I guess, I know that Chelsea would have seen that desire and that energy that I had.
Did you have that? How did you play back then? 8, 9 years of age. What were you about? What was? Talk to me about when you were going to games at 8 or 9. Can you remember like having nerves and really wanting to win?
I think there's probably an element of just fearlessness and freedom, and you know, just a real desire. I remember I used to play against big players. I think there was a lot of guys back then who you had big athletes, and I wasn't a big player. I was small. I've obviously since grown, but I was a small guy. But I used to think to myself, I want to take down the biggest player on the pitch. If we're playing against an Arsenal and they've got a big player playing, I think I'm going to take him down. And every time that's what I used to think, and it'd be
why? Because if you take him down, what? I mean, you probably can't remember that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a bit of I want to show people, or I want to prove people wrong, or I guess there's an element of that. But
at what age? What are you talking again?
It's just 9, 10, yeah.
I don't think you're looking to. I don't know. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but do you think you're looking to prove anyone wrong at 9?
Probably not. No, but maybe it became that over the years when I was sort of, getting a bit older and putting pressure on myself. But maybe 9, 10 is just something.
So you're going into games and you're sizing up the main man and saying, "I'll take care of you."
Yeah.
At 9.
Yeah. And I lost it along the way. And
well, let's just stay there because we can go. We know we're going to go, but. So you're doing that at Fulham, and you're between Fulham and Chelsea at the time.
So I'm at Fulham. They buy me from Chelsea. Chelsea buy me from Fulham. Mm-hmm. So I'm at Chelsea. Roman Abramovich just taken over. Brendan Rodgers is the head of recruitment. He's recruited me. He's obviously in charge of the academy and all that sort of stuff. So I remember Chelsea took me around the training ground there. Lovely training ground. They're just building it at Cobham. I think they went out and bought like 8 or 9 of the young best players in England. So we had boys coming in from Ipswich, obviously me from Fulham, Nathaniel from Fulham, Lewis Baker, they bought him from Luton. So there's a group of us they bought in at Chelsea at the time, so thought of as like the best sort of 6 or 7 players in the country, because we've got this money, we're going to go and buy the best players and nurture them. And I guess now looking back, they were buying that desire and that hunger that I had in me, and I probably showed that on the pitch by running the most, going around everywhere, running everywhere, tackling people, like just doing a bit of everything. I think that's probably what you'd have seen when you watch me. I think a lot of footballers will come out and say, yeah, when I was younger, I was scoring the most goals, I was doing this, I was doing that, and that's probably right. But I guess, if Chelsea are buying you at 10 years old, you've got to be showing something.
So you were showing what I see in you now. You're running around and you're being you, and you is all energy, all action, desire to dominate the opposition. You're going through happily, 9 under 10s, under 11s, under 12s. When did you start to feel? Did you ever feel less than? Did you ever start to feel like the ugly duckling at Chelsea, or?
Yeah, so I started meeting my game. I think back then I was they pushed me back into defence. I think so I was a bit of a defender. I played centre back, right back. I was known at the club for getting stuck in, tackling, winning the ball, being that kind of hard sort of player at that age. Obviously, it's young and people really didn't expect it because I'm a little blonde-haired boy, not much height, but I'm steely in a tackle and yeah, I used to get remarks saying stuff like, yeah, you're just a tackler, or you're just this, or you. But there was a couple of coaches at Chelsea, to be fair, who were really good with me, and they really liked it. And they saw that desire. Eddie Newton was one. So I had Eddie Newton from, I think it was under 11s to under 12s, and he really believed in me. He used to say, you just keep the game simple. It's a simple game. You get it, you pass it. You get it, you pass it. And he used to say I was the only one in the team. I remember sitting there once after a game. I think we played West Ham, lost 2 or 3-0. I think I was like 25. We used to do 4 periods, so 25 minutes. I think we used to play. I think I was always late because my dad would always get me there late and all that sort of stuff. So I've turned up 25 minutes late, missed the first quarter. I've played the last 3 quarters. We've lost the game quite badly. But I remember sitting in the changing room after, and Eddie Newton's standing there saying, "There's only one guy in this team who's got what it takes. That passes the ball simple, that does the simple things, that tackles, that wants to fight." And I held myself back a little bit after we were showering and getting ready and stuff, and I just held myself back. So I had an inkling he was talking about me, and he said, "I know why you've waited, because it's you that I'm talking about. You've got to keep doing that. You've got to keep that mindset for the rest of your career, and you've got a good chance."
And Eddie Newton, I guess, was at the start of his coaching journey then.
Yeah, I think probably. Well, Eddie Newton was a top. Well,
as a player, he was a top player at Chelsea, but I guess for him, he wouldn't have stayed long at 14s, 15s. He would have moved quickly up. I remember when I left MK Dons under Paul Ince, he came in with Di Matteo.
Yeah, he went.
So I guess he moved quickly. He wasn't around you long then, was he?
No, so I had him for 2 years.
2 years. Okay.
So I had him for 2 years, and when I found out the year after he was going to be the coach again, I was so happy because I was thinking, great, like got this guy again who clearly likes me, sees something in me. I had him for 2 years, then. He's gone on to win the Champions League of Chelsea. He was the assistant manager for Chelsea when they won the Champions League.
First,
yeah. And I haven't really kept in contact with him, but I always remember his words and what he used to say. And but I guess over the years, then I had another coach after that. I won't say his name, but wasn't as good. It was more about. I think Chelsea got a bit lost at some stage where it was a bit like, let's just go for players who are really technical. Let's get all these boys in from Ajax and European countries and. They maybe lost a bit of that sort of John Terry, Frank Lampard. They're very good players, but they're also
the essence, the heart, desire, fight.
Exactly, and that's possibly why you haven't got loads of boys going through the Chelsea first team straight into the team through the academy, because I guess they lost a bit of that, and it was coached out of me when I was sort of 12, 13 after I left Eddie Newton.
Do you remember driving home from training? Do you remember evenings at home? I don't know, reflecting and thinking, I'm not good enough, or I'm an ugly player, or I'm not.
Yeah, it used to embarrass me. It used to embarrass me. So that's how I used to feel. I used to feel like, no, I don't want to be that guy who just gets stuck in and just tackles and just does this and just runs and just tackles. I want to be getting on the ball. I want to be curling it in the top corner. And I guess my dad was guilty of that sometimes as well, saying, "Oh, you got to do more. You got to score. You got to add stuff to your game. You got to dribble. You got to run. You got to dip and dive players." And I'm not. That's not my game. I'm good at. I've got gifts from God, which are that's not my game. But you could say that about Frank Lampard. He's not going to get it and dribble and drive, but he's going to give it desire. He's going to give it heart, and he's going to perform. And that's my game.
And I think he obviously had Jose Mourinho at the start of Mourinho's incredible spell when he probably did keep it simple for those players and say, look, Frank, you can be amazing at what you do. Just keep it simple. And so. I'm just picturing you, so you're going through that journey, you're 13, 14, already that confusion starting. Well, do I fit in? Is this the way? I need to be more than I am. Already that more than I am.
Yeah, I think the thing with at Chelsea as well, it's like you've got guys overlooking it, like academy managers and people like that, and they might not have played the game, or they might not quite see that sort of side of what I was, or seen that's actually positive. That's actually what you need to make it as a player, because Eddie Newton obviously was a top player at Chelsea. He saw it, he knew it. I had another coach, Frank O'Brien, old school kind of guy, really good, believed in me as well. Really sort of saw what I was and took me there. Maybe captain. I was captain 14, 15. He was really good as well. He kept instilling that belief in me that was the right way to go. Talking about John Terry, talking about those guys, because he's seen it. He's old school. But I think they get. I said not blaming them because it's just how it is, but. I think I lost a bit of that. Along the way because I think I think you're looking at players who are technically really good and gifted, and you think, oh, I need to be like that to play for Chelsea because that's what they are.
I think so you go through the ranks at Chelsea, and then at 16 you leave and you join Norwich City. Why and what happened then?
I think there was a couple of lads at Chelsea who got contracts, got scholarships early. I think might have been captain of the under-15s at the time, and I went in to see the academy manager Neil Bath, and he was great with me. To be fair, he said, we've got Andy King, who was at Chelsea. He's gone off and had an amazing career at Leicester, and he wasn't good enough to play for Chelsea at 15, 16. We didn't think he was going to make it all the way. He said, I'll give you a scholarship right now, and we'd happily have you, but I don't think it's gonna happen for you here. So to be fair, I went off, did about 4 or 5 different trials at different clubs: Southampton, Ipswich, Norwich. I wanted to go down the route of going to a lower league club, and trying to break in the first team early there. So those clubs were all in League One at the time. I think Ipswich might have been in the Championship, but Southampton and Norwich were certainly in League One.
Norwich in League One at that time?
Yeah, Norwich were in League One. Yeah. So I went to Norwich, but ironically they got back-to-back promotions.
Yeah.
So it kind of killed the plan. But no, it was good. It was so I went on trial at these different clubs. Chelsea were actually amazing with me. They let me stay and train. AD Varvash was there at the time. He was very good with me, saying, stay and train. If you keep training like that, you can stay here anytime you want. It's only 15 minutes down the road from me. So I was training at Chelsea once a week, and then I was going up to Norwich on the train, training up there, obviously playing matches there under 16. So I was there from sort of under 16s up until.
So then you leave home and you make that jump. You leave school and you go for it. Your chips are in, and you're then on that 2-year journey to becoming a professional.
Yeah, well, to be fair, my dad was great with me as well. So I'm sort of 15, 16, just been told by Chelsea, you're not going to make it here. It's my dream, it's my bubble that I was living in, that I was always going to be playing for Chelsea. And suddenly I walked in one day and they've said, no, you're not good enough. It's not going to happen for you here. And it's tough. Like, I didn't have anyone. My dad was my supporter, and that was it. Everyone else was sort of Chelsea. Everyone was at Chelsea, and you trust them and you believe them, and you think they're going to do everything for you. But that's just not the reality of how it works in football. So my dad was great. He got hold of all these clubs, kept me motivated, kept me on it as well. But obviously, I never gave up at any point that I think, I need to stop playing now.
It just triggered something about your dad being that support network for you that period, and I thought about all the young lads who don't have that. I always thought it was the responsibility of that coaching staff to really map that journey out, more than the technical aspects, more than to give you the technique and give you the tactical awareness. Is actually show you what real life's like early, 13, 14. Look, guys, Cameron, if you want to make it, it's going to be tough every year. You're going to have to go through pain, physically, emotionally. Keep digging in, keep the basic. That kind of chat. Did you ever really, apart from Eddie Newton, was that ever there? That real instilling of what the next 5 years, 10 years look like?
No, I don't. I never thought. It was never really there for you. I don't know if it's different now because obviously it's a few years ago, but. Yeah, you're not really getting those conversations. You're not really aware of it though. You're in the bubble of Chelsea, and all you think is, I'm going to play for Chelsea.
But do you not think this is my thing? You know the job I do today, and beyond yourself and looking after players, some of them at top clubs. Is that not the fundamental responsibility of a coach? When I coached in an academy and I walked away from that system 7 years ago because I was very disillusioned with seeing this next generation. I could only affect these boys for a year, and I knew when they left me, like Eddie Newton, I guess they were going to go into, and the conversations I was having with them 4 nights a week when it was just me and them in a room or on the grass, sitting there on the AstroTurf, was about life, about what it's going to take for them, and about, I'm sorry if I'm hard on you guys, but it's going to be tough. And keep the basics strong, and keep,
Yeah, no.
Is that not the responsibility? I took that as my major role.
I think that is. To be fair, I think I had guys there, coaches there, like Frank Brown. Like I said, he's still there now. He's ringing me and saying, "Don't give up on it. Keep going. Keep trying. Keep going. You've got something. You've got to keep going for it." I don't think he was doing that for everyone. I think he did genuinely believe in me. And the guys at Chelsea were good. They did sort of put my name about and would have given me good references. I'm sure of it. But yeah, it's not like, obviously there's not a great support network, and I feel for those guys, those young guys who have their dreams shattered, and they don't have the support of a parent or like a club or someone who's going to say, just keep going, or let's do this, let's do that.
And I go back to it, but also the support, I absolutely agree, but also the mapping out, isn't it? I call it the mapping out of the career.
Yeah,
this is what it's going to look like, guys. Even though you're 12, this game is tough, and.
I was going to say, like, we're in a bubble, like, for sure. I was in a bubble at Chelsea all the way through. I genuinely thought I'm going to just keep going and I'm going to get in Chelsea's first.
But that's not your fault.
No, that's just how, I guess it's how it is there. Like, I think that's what everyone thinks, and there's a lot of guys who struggle when they come away from a top academy like that, and they come out of the bubble and they're suddenly like, we haven't got the great facilities anymore. We don't get 2 pairs, 3 pairs of boots given to us. We haven't got this amazing food. We're not getting money every time we come for petrol. You go to these places like Norwich, Ipswich. They've sort of developed now, but they're not. It's completely different. You're thrown in there and you think, oh, this is. But
here's the thing, and I'm going to be too controversial or not. I remember working with a young player. He was 17, 18 when I started working with him at one of the top 4 clubs, and I actually asked him, what you've been here since 14, yet you don't know what this game looks like, and you're here at 18. Why couldn't they have that conversation at 13? I'm then drafting as an outsider, and we'll go into that in the second part of this about how I fell into my role and what we do. But it's almost like I'm having to take him back to 4 and re-educate and say, well, you stopped at 14 and said, no, that's not. And he was like, no.
I think the first conversation I had on that one was when Neil Bath was talking to me about Andy King, and he was saying Andy King's been released 15, 16. He's gone off. He's gone and got himself a career at Leicester. He's gone and now he's playing in the Premier League again. And I think he got called up for England at one point. I think he named Jack Cork as well. Had a similar sort of thing happen to him. Wasn't playing, went off, and that was probably the first time at 15, 16 I remember thinking about it. That potentially gave me the idea to think, right, let's go to the lower leagues, League One, and let's try and get in there. Let's try and get in that way. But at the time, I also thought, I'll just go to League One because I'm from Chelsea. I'll go there. I'll be the best player. I'll get a pro contract. I'll get in the first team straight away. And disrespecting completely what that level it looks like and how good the players are at that level and how good the infrastructure is. I'll touch on it quickly as well. When I went from Norwich on loan to Luton, that was at 18, 19 for the first time. I was going to the conference, not having a clue what that was going to be like.
But let's move into that. I don't want to skip that Norwich period. No. So you're now at Norwich. You're on the journey. You're 16 to 18, and you've got to. This is the time you've got to. This is where you earn the right to be a professional.
Well, I was excited. I moved up. I was happy to move away from my family. 3-4 hours up the road in Norwich in digs. It was a scholarship, like you said. It's make or break. You've got to go and get yourself a professional contract and get yourself a career. I was giving up a good school and had good grades in my GCSEs. Mum and Dad made sure I got good grades, so I had that to sort of fall back on. But I went out there just fully believing that I've got 2 years to put everything I've got into it, and I had that mindset of I'm going to work hard every day. I'm going to push myself every day. One of the coaches I had there said to me, just make sure you don't get a wash bag, because you've got a lot of wash bag culture at scholarships.
Wash bag pros.
Yeah, wash bag pro. You come in with your wash bag, happy. You think, I'm a footballer. You're on £100 a week, and you're playing sort of games every week. You think you're a footballer. You think you're Billy Big Time suddenly. So I was very aware of that, and I was aware that I was going to have to work hard every day, and I certainly did that. And we had the Youth Cup.
So that was in your second year. You had the run in the FA Youth Cup when you ended up winning the FA Youth Cup against Chelsea over 2 legs, which is no mean feat. I think if we looked in the last 10 years, how many times have Chelsea won it in the last 10 years?
I think it was sort of 4 out of 5. I think we were the one that beat them.
Beat them, and I know you played a starring role throughout that run, but certainly in the 2-legged final where you scored home and away.
Yeah, I was captain of that team. We had a great team. We got 2 Murphy twins who both playing in the Premier League at the minute. We had some really good players all throughout. Neil Adams was our manager, who then went on to manage Norwich's first team. But yeah, it was ironic to be playing against Chelsea in the final, and yeah, for sure. Then I was thinking, I want to prove these guys wrong. I'm playing against some of these guys got contracts instead of me. I've got managers there still in charge who said no to me, but obviously weren't having me. And to go to beat them at home and then to beat them away as well, and sort of lift the cup was just obviously a great feeling. Obviously, it felt like a bit of payback as well.
So you've won the Youth Cup. You finished April, May time, the final. You finished for the summer. Now you're coming back as a professional. Yeah,
I've sort of come back. I think Norwich offered me a pro contract. Chris Hughton was a manager at the time. I've gone back to Norwich off the back of the Youth Cup, thinking I've got a chance now to maybe get in the first team. Maybe they'll push a few of us through, and that was my mindset. I thought I can get in this first team now. I think Norwich were in the Prem at the time. And so I genuinely thought...
And were there any conversations had to you after the Youth Cup about what this club saw for you?
No, Norwich offered me, I think they offered me sort of 250 quid a week on a 1-year contract.
That was my first wage there as well.
Yeah. And obviously I knew what lads were getting at other clubs, and I just felt sort of disrespected. I think they did it to a few of the lads, and you just thought, you just won the youth cup, like I've just done an amazing thing. It was the first time in years that they'd done it. It was on national TV. It was great for the club, and it was a good chance to sort of now push us through. But it sort of had the opposite effect. It kind of made you think, well, do you even want me, or do you even rate me? It's like, just offer me this contract. Then I'm back up to Norwich. I'm in the reserves.
It's so hard to. You're in that jump. Then you're now in that chasm almost that the football world talks about week in, week out. You know, that fallout between 18 and 21. You're in there. Like you say, you're in the reserves. You're on 250 quid a week. You're clearing 700 quid a month after tax. Yeah,
I think. And then the mindset changes, and I realised pretty quickly that I wasn't anywhere near the first team plans. It was a case of I need to get out on loan, I need to play first team football, and I understood that. I understood that was what I needed to do, and I was really wanted to. And I just remember thinking every week, I need to get out on loan. If I don't get out on loan, like, I'm never going to prove myself to people. I'm never going to get a career. I think I had to wait till January that season, and I got a call from Luton, and they're in the conference at the time. And I remember thinking, blimey, the conference, I didn't really want to go and do that, non-league. Like, I'm better than that. I just won the youth cup. Why is my phone not ringing? Like, I thought my phone was going to be, you got League One clubs, you got maybe some Championship clubs. That's what I genuinely thought, because, like you said, it just wasn't explained to me what it was like. I hadn't even seen a League Two, League One game, let alone a conference game. So I went on loan to conference to Luton in January. I think they were second at the time, pushing for promotion. John Still was the manager. And I went there. I remember my first game, I was sitting in the changing room with Luke Guttridge, and I said to him, could hear the crowd of the stadium at Luton's amazing. They had sort of 7,000-8,000 there every week, even in the conference. Massive club. And I remember turning to Luke Guttridge and thinking, I said to him, what's it going to be like today? Like, because I had no idea. This is 10 minutes before the game. He said, honestly, mate, don't worry, like, you'll be fine. Just go and play your game. You'll be good. And, I went out, did really well, won 3-0. And we kicked on from there. We ended up getting promoted, but I just remember being pretty scared, pretty nervous, going up there and thinking, like, what am I letting myself in for here?
I think it was about the time we got introduced, wasn't it, mate?
Yeah, I think so, just about around then, yeah.
Yeah, it was, I think, I was introduced to by a mutual friend, and it was very much, I think I could help you, potentially. And I remember the first time I talked to you, we were, I was very aware that I came away thinking, wow, I can relate to him a lot. There's a depth, sensitivity, but I could see the desire and fight in you. There was you're very clear, and that steeliness in your eyes about where you wanted to go. And I could just sense you were very sensitive and put that pressure on yourself. I remember the first time I came to watch you independently, I said, let me come and watch. And I'll never forget, it was a pre-season game against Walsall. And I remember seeing you continually break into the box, like pick these little areas up, these pockets between centre forwards, and arrive in the box. But I also saw someone who looked like they were towing a caravan, and I could really relate to that. And I don't mean that you were overweight. I don't mean you were pre-season, you just trained for 8 weeks. I mean you were pulling this caravan of feelings and thoughts. I need to do this, got to do this, can't fail. Season starts next year. It's relentless chat. Yeah,
it was massive. I remember the game. I felt heavy, nervous. It was like I said, it was a week before the first game of the season. I was in the team. Normally, the Saturday before the season starts, that's the sort of team that's going to start the season. And I thought, I want to play. I want to kick on. I want to score goals this season. I want to get a move. I want to get out of League Two. I want to kick on. And I remember playing in that game and just like you said, not being able to run, like just feeling tired, and I spoke to you after the game. I think I met you sort of the middle of the week. Yeah. And it's the first time, because I had that feeling before loads of times. I had it in the youth cup. The nerves of trying to get through each round and feeling heavy and not lethargic. You can see it in players now when you watch, when there's big pressure games. You see players, they're not moving freely, or they're not.
And people who say their legs are gone.
They're
not fit. That's what I heard about Man United this year. They're not fit.
Yeah. It's just it's pressure, isn't it? And I remember sitting there with you. We went to a pub in Luton somewhere. And I wasn't sure. I didn't know what was going on. So I think my dad had put us in touch. And I sat in this meeting with you, and it was, he said, I saw the game. You broke the box amazingly well each time. You missed a really good chance. But how did you feel? And I've told you how I felt. I felt heavy. And you said exactly the same thing. You spotted it. You resonated with it. You said that's how you felt during your career. It's the first time someone had said.
This podcast is brought to you in association with the Turmeric Company. With a unique extracting technique, eliminating dilution of these incredible active ingredients, the Turmeric Company have produced a series of powerful drinks With 5 grams of turmeric in every bottle, they're leading the way in enabling people to reap the full benefits of nature's wonder ingredient. Details can be found at www.theturmericcompany.com. Welcome back to the second part of this podcast series here in Richmond upon Thames. Beautiful summer's evening with, let's describe you, League One team of the season in one of the teams voted for by managers, I believe. Team of the season, League One. We've had a £750,000 move, give or take.
Yeah.
From Luton to Barnsley. Let's jump back though. So that was 2 seasons ago. You moved from Luton to Barnsley. There was 2 seasons at Luton Town. And we finished up there talking about when you first went there and how the conversations we had and started to identify that emotion you had. I want you to be really honest right now and talk about when you had the stomach issues as a young man at Luton, at Norwich, and I can relate to that. I remember saying to my mum, I was 17, 18, doubled up in cramp after evening games, sitting on toilet in coaches, diarrhoea, sickness, stomach cramps. It was built up of fear and anxiety. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was because I'd run so hard, I'd left everything, I was just empty. And sometimes it was.
Yeah, I remember when I was at Chelsea, I think about 14, 15, I remember them just saying, I remember just getting stomach problems with them. I think, I must be eating something that's not agreeing with me. And I remember sort of when I was sort of 16, 17, 18, I started just to get it more and more often. It was more evening games. I think I'd have the whole day to be thinking about a match, and it just grow on me and then mixing in with the adrenaline. And I used to just get some real bad diarrhoea in games, like my stomach just cramping up. And I've seen players come out and say they've had it and had different things. I spoke to Russell Martin at Norwich about it because he had a similar thing. I tried all these diets and gluten-frees and vegans and all those things, and nothing worked. I just still had it. I was taking Imodium to sort of try and block it up, and it was only when I started talking about my feelings and my what was going on in my head, where now I never really get it anymore. Unless might get it the odd occasion, and the odd occasion will be where I've put too much pressure on myself going into a game. So, but I understand what it is now. Whereas before, I didn't have any idea. I spent loads of money on seeing different guys, nutritionists, doctors, and just never getting to the bottom of it until the feelings was when I started talking about feelings, understanding.
And it's funny, isn't it? You know, people talk about mental health. And, I remember, this is not about me, but people know my journey now if they follow me on platforms. But I came out of rehab, and I went into addiction recovery, and then all the therapy and inner child stuff. And I remember hearing a profound, great, one of the great, I think in the last 100 years, therapists, John Bradshaw in the States, and he talked about how anxiety and undealt with traumas can manifest as a physical disease, to be diseased, not at ease. And I thought that was an amazing way of describing it. If you're not at ease, it's a disease. You know, and I think he talked about 30 years as a therapist, psychotherapist in the States, and how one day he went to the local hospital, to the cancer unit, and spoke to the head of cancer specialist there, and the crossover between his client base who'd been seeing him for therapy over the last 25, 30 years, and the clients or the patients who'd had reported cancers was unbelievable, so high. Now I'm not, but my point really is that people talk about mental health and anxiety. For me, anxiety, shortness of breath, that's cramping stomach. It's just an accumulation of thoughts, and that energy just manifests, doesn't it? You know.
Yeah, definitely. And you see a lot of guys before games. They're nervous. You can tell. Like everyone gets nervous. Everyone has anxiety before a game because it's you're going out to perform. You're going into a performance environment. You've got to go and do well. Otherwise, you'll be dropped or you get taken off. And
well, I heard Jurgen Klopp say. I heard him say in an interview once that these days, where there is more money, there's more pressure. And because of the more pressure, there's this culture now which is unfair on footballers, where it's black and white. You're either a hero and everyone's saying how well you played, or you're nothing. It's complete failure. There's no grey area. There's no you did okay, and that brings a lot of pressure to players.
Yeah, I mean, every player it's been their sort of dream since they were a kid to sort of go and play at these big stadiums and go and play in big matches, and it's hard. It's tough to have to go out and perform every week. I remember when I was at Luton the first time, I used to look at the papers, and my dad used to look at the papers, and you'd be looking for your score. You'd go, you're getting rated out of 10, so I'm looking and going, I'm getting rated. I got an 8 today. Buzzing. They put me in team of the week for the week, and then
hanging on crumbs, any crumb you can get.
And then in the week after, you're 5 out of 10. Your world ended. You think, oh my god, I got the worst score in the team. Like everyone's going to think, and in no other job are you getting scored out of 10 in the papers, in the national papers every week.
And you know what used to annoy me is that people would say, well, you've got to be mentally tough. Then that's not being mentally tough looking. And that used to really annoy me because I am so tough. What I've been through in my life, what I've come through. When I'd be on a pitch and I'd have that desire in me to turn things round. Tough. Yet just because I overthought and overfelt didn't mean I was weak.
Yeah, I mean, it's 100%. I think, it's natural to sort of think like that and to look at these things. And I think it wasn't until I really understood that it was fine to sort of to put pressure on myself, and I wasn't the only one doing it, and I'm not the only one looking at scores. I'm not the only one who's feeling this way. You see a lot of guys coming out at the minute. Danny Rose, Peter Crouch. Yeah. I bet if you sat down with any footballer, they'd say they went through these things.
Well, we've talked obviously since we've been working now, and you're in such a strong place emotionally, which is reflected in your performances, of course, always. The performance on the pitch, it's just a reflection of how you are inside. The player doesn't go away. He's still the same player as you, 12, running all over the top of people, high energy, box to box, breaking, running off people, this great desire, which is such a quality. I heard Alex Ferguson describe, desire as a great gift, real hard work as a great gift. Often people assume that everybody works that hard, but not that hard, and so the journey you've been on to get here, but it's not been easy. You sit here now at 23 years of age, and we're here. It's beautiful. The sun, summer's evening in Richmond. It's almost like you're away from the battlefield here. The battle's done. The war's won. You're at Barnsley, great season, promotion. Your battle's done. Starts, great performances, goals. A really great season for you. And it's like time to sit now, and it's such a polarity, isn't it? We sit on a beautiful summer's evening. But you can close your eyes and go back to any of those January evenings where you've got to find another performance.
Yeah, I mean, we've spoken about it obviously a lot through the season, and it's tough. Like, you have games where you don't do well, you have games you lose, you have games you should be doing better in, and I'm my own worst enemy in that. I criticise myself. I sit there and think, what have I done? Even when I've done well, I would be thinking I should have done more, I should have done better. Am I ever going to get anywhere? Am I going to achieve my goals? Am I going to play in the Premier League? And all these things. And so obviously it's a constant battle with your own head around those things of, because I want to get to the top. It's a tough battle in my head, and that's the feelings that I've had, and that's the pressure you put on yourself. And like you said, when I'm a kid and I'm running around, I'm not thinking about those kind of things. It's about each game I go into now. I try and strip it all back, take away all those feelings that, of nerves and anxiety, strip them all back or understand them better, and I do now. And when I can really truly strip them back and go into a game free of all those thoughts, then then I achieve my maximum potential. And you look at the top players, your Messis, your Ronaldos, they go into games with pure faith and belief in themselves, and that's what you see when you watch them. That aura, that's that freedom. They go into these games with none of that, with those feelings. They're in control of those feelings, I think.
Yeah, and this podcast I've decided to call The Gift is the Curse, and it's really aimed, and I want to sit and have these deep conversations with the people who have that gift. And the gift is, and I have it, is this intensity, this desire, this nothing is ever enough, which, in therapy, you try and work through that and say, we need to work through that nothing's ever enough so we get a place of tranquility. We talked, I meditate, I pray, we do gratitude lists, I do them with you and all my other clients. Every day we do gratitude lists, and we try and get some sense of peace in this gift of ours, which is relentless. I finish now, I'm a coach. I have to work very hard every day. In my head's going, when are you going to be the best coach in the world? When are you going to be seen as this? Who else is out there? When are you going to... it's relentless. It doesn't go away. I often laugh with you. It doesn't change. Nothing changes. You can retire. I'm 40. It doesn't change. I'll sit there at 70. There'll still be a voice going, what are you doing? You're 70. You're giving up.
Yeah, but that like because I've met people like-minded to me. Like, obviously Drew, he's been a great help to me, and that I've got an understanding around that gift that I've got inside me. Like, it is the curse as well, because it can be defeating at times if you're not in control of it. If you're not doing spiritual work or the feelings work that we do all around it. It can you can't control it all the time, but I think when we've done this work and I've managed to sort of go into games like that, we've seen the results and they've been great. And I've got that mindset now where I'm sitting here, finished the season, sort of had 2 weeks off, and my voice is already going in my head. I've still got a month to have to go back, but my head's already going. You're not getting fit. You need to start getting fit now. You need to start running. You need to start pushing yourself, because otherwise, come start the season, you're not going to be at it. You've got a big season, the Championship coming up. You've got to be sharp. You've got to be fit, and that voice is always with me. And I wake up with it, and I can understand it. But like you said, we do the gratitude lists and.
It's getting out the feelings, isn't it? It's the great feelings work. And, how do you feel? Oh yeah, I'm alright. Not a feeling. How do you feel? I'm scared. What are you scared of? I've got to play well. Contract up. There's a midfield on the bench who's going to be better than me. For me, it was a forward on the bench, and I haven't scored for 3 games. And I played against this guy last year, and he had the better of me. And I always say, for me, looking back, I was never fighting an opposition. It was never. I was fighting myself, but many times I was punching in the dark because I didn't know what I was fighting. Whereas what we do is get out on that paper what's going on inside, and that's what you're punching. So in the game, 5 minutes in, you're giving the ball away, and that voice starts laughing. You're done today. Told you were done. You're never going to keep your place in the team. You're aggressive with it. I can swear on here, but the truth is, I think you have to be aggressive with that inner voice, and we've talked about it. It's almost like, fuck you, shut up. Fuck off, I'll deal with you after the game. It really aggressive with that sabotaging side of you.
Yeah, I remember we sort of the first ever time we sort of had a real powerful feeling that this is big. This is gonna help me loads. Was the game I had Stoke City. I was playing against Stoke in the cup, and I was on the bench, and I had just played Yeovil on a Saturday, and I played really badly, full of fear, not expressing myself at all. And you said go to a coffee shop, sit down, get a notepad, get a pen, and just write down exactly how you feel. Because how many times do you go up to someone in the street and say, "Oh, you're right, mate. How are you?" And you go, "Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. How are you?" And is that those pleasantries? But you're not actually saying how you feel. You never really truly say how you feel. So I got the sheet and I'm in the coffee shop and I'm writing down exactly how I feel. I feel nervous that I'm not going to get to the top. I'm not going to ever get out of League Two. I'm not going to get out of I'm not going to push on. I'm not going to get out the leagues. I'm not going to reach my potential. All these things on the sheet. I'm just writing it all down. And it's like, if you feel full and you've eaten too much, you want to be sick. You want to throw it up. And it's like, I've got all these feelings inside me, and it's getting too much. And the only way to get them out is to write them down. And
when we eat too much, we have that stomach ache. Yeah. When you have that too much, it's a headache.
Yeah, exactly. And the only way to get, like I said, the solution for this was, let's write it all down. Let's get it all out on a paper. It's like word vomit almost. It's like, get all that stuff down on that piece of paper and get it in front of you. And then when it was out, when you write it all down, I'm going, wow, like, I feel better now. Like, I'm looking at that stuff.
And then we work across it. What can I control? What can I control? What can I control? What can I control? And we always laugh, don't we? And that's why I love Pep Guardiola and these top managers, because they keep it so simple. And I get a little long through it now, but everybody's searching for the magic answer, and they believe it lies in tactics and more science and more data and more. What's happening this year, especially this season, in Pochettino and Klopp and Guardiola. Let's deal with Liverpool. Their teams outrun you. They outfight you. Jurgen Klopp, Genga pressing, they will run all over you. That's hard work to do. Manchester City, they will run all over you. Pep Guardiola, fight. Then they play. Of course, they've got top players, but they run and fight first. Pochettino, spirit, heart, guts. These things, it breaks my heart. They're seen as old school. They're seen as old school now. It's almost ugly. People want an easier, softer way, a way that can be measured by science, or a nice way. And I think with you, I saw that gift, that great gift that you've got resources that you can go to, which are so deep. You've got a well so deep that you can go there and you can dig in there. And the amount of times I've watched you in 75, 80 minutes in, and we've talked before the game, I said, you've got to keep running through that voice, stay in the game. That your goals will come when you keep running through that pain. But you've got to be able to go that deep. It's such a gift.
Mm-hmm. It is, and it's the simplicity of knowing that is what I've got. That's my gift. I'm going to run. I'm going to outrun you. I'm going to outwork you. As I said, you see the top teams, the top players, they do it. Jamie Vardy, he's a great example of someone who just doesn't stop running. There's plenty of them. Lampard, all his goals came from up and down, running up and down, where no one else wanted to come with you.
It's a shame because everyone sees the top. Everyone sees that dipper he used to hit from the edge of the box, and he runs onto it, boom, 20 yards, it dips in, one bounce past the keeper, and they fixate with that.
For sure. I used to see Frank Lampard when I was 13, 14 at Chelsea, and he was day after a game, and he's running around the whole of the training ground. He's a fit guy, so I read his book. He just used to go out and run, and he knew that he needed to be able to outrun people. And I've taken that into my own game, and I talk about it with you, Drew, and it's if I can go out there and outrun people and have one focus, I'm going to outrun all my other stuff, my technical ability, that'll all shine through. But first of all, I've got to look after, can I outrun my opponent? Most of the time I know I can. I'm looking at him going, no, I'm going to outrun you today. And I said goals come, and team of the years come, and promotions come after a season of just every game going into it thinking I'm going to outrun these guys.
And the amount of clips I sent to you and sent to all that, all the boys, and it's great, the media. Paul Scholes sitting in the B2 Sports studio saying, fight desire, then Rio Ferdinand, fight desire, Ronaldo, fight desire, there's Messi punching someone and fight desire, Pep Guardiola, Klopp. I send you guys clips all the time. It's almost like the media don't want to jump on that, but it blows me away. It's like, it's screaming for the media to go, look, young players, look what they're all saying. And I champion that. Steven Gerrard, talking about tasting blood on your lungs. I remember talking about that at a talk. Yeah. Everyone looked at me like, I was crazy. What do you mean blood on your lungs? That feeling when you burn it.
These top guys, they know. And I love watching Monday Night Football, and all these Gary Neville, they have the debates, and Graham Souness is a great one.
Amazing.
He'll talk about, first of all, it's about fight and running, and that's the game of football.
Champions League winner 3 times, highly decorated.
Looking at Pep Guardiola, he's saying, if my players don't run, they sit with me on the bench. And that's the facts. And these are top players. Technically, are unbelievable players. And if they're
the FA Cup final, Man City ran all over Watford a few days back.
Exactly. And so people get lost in that idea. I think there was a time at Chelsea where I got lost in that idea. There's been times through my career I've lost my way a bit with that. But it's been about getting back to that, and with the help with Drew and the work we do, it's getting back to that little child, 15, at sort of 5, 6-year-old child who knew that all I had to do was run and just playing with freedom and without fear, and that's the work, and it's just stripping back all those feelings and all the voices in the head, and just sort of staying in control of those.
It's my big thing. I think that the links between high-performing individuals, those with the gift of vision and this drive, and mental health are so linked. And I know everyone's saying there's this big thing, and the thing the other night with Prince William and the Royal Team talk, I think it was amazing. I think, to get Crouch and Janice and Henri, Gareth Southgate, His Royal Highness in the room and talking about this stuff. But what I found, I was smiling, and there was a few texts going between lads, and Prince William, obviously, the trauma of losing a mother as a young child, you wouldn't wish it on anybody. And it's certainly a pain I could never relate to, especially so publicly. But beyond that, I was waiting for the players to dig in a little bit. Danny Rose started talking about it when the club came in for him the other summer, and he was seen as being, they said to his agent, we're worried, are you crazy? We need to see if you're crazy before, because he'd reported mental health issues. What he'd actually reported is sometimes it got too much, long-term injury. Sometimes I beat myself up, and it's still seen. I don't know, I players all day long. I don't know. Is it safe to go and sit with the manager and say, you know what, I'm struggling. I wanted it too bad Saturday. I wanted it too bad. I don't know.
It's hard like that.
It's hard.
I'm with these guys every day in my team, and we're all going through the same stuff. We've all got the same pressures. We all want to make money for our families. We all want to, reach our potential. We all want to sort of push on and do well. And you go into games with this pressure. And like last season, there was a massive pressure on Barnsley to get promoted. We're a big club, got good players and good money for the level. We need to get promoted. We need to get back to the Championship. And we're talking about our feelings, and it's hard to sort of go into games and have that dealt with. It's hard for managers, I guess. There's one guy with 20 players, but you see sort of Pep Guardiola, the way he sort of goes about, and Jurgen Klopp, it's great, and you sort of see that, and you think that's what Danny Rose is, in essence, is what he's talking about.
Yeah. I mean, this podcast is certainly not about. It's about the individual, and I want to stay there. The gift is the curse, and hopefully anyone listening to this that can identify with that relentlessness and also, and I keep championing it. I can relate to it. It's just being seen as. It's being seen as like, well, everyone works hard, everyone wants it that much, and they don't, and owning that part of you, owning that relentlessness, and that great gift. So you've played over a couple of hundred league games. I would have thought by now, 100 and something league games by now.
Yeah, I think it's just close to 200
close to
now.
200 games.
23, 20. I broke my leg and missed sort of 6-7 months. But yeah, I was at Luton. Scored. We found the form and dealt with my feelings. And I think I was on 11 goals before Christmas as a midfielder. It was obviously pretty good going. Barnsley were going to buy me, had clubs in for me. Leeds, had some big clubs in for me in the January. Broke my leg on January the 2nd. 6-7 month injury. Was told it was never going to be the same again, and it was tough to take. But you do your rehab, you get yourself back fit. I feel fine now. I feel great. But Barnsley then came in for me in the summer because they obviously saw it was a good chance to get me because I don't think anyone else was probably going to sign me with a broken leg. So they probably got themselves a bit of a bargain compared to what I would have cost if I was fit. So I went there, and since then really until this season I've sort of been trying to find my way back to that mindset I had before the injury where I was flying, because it's been tough. You miss a lot of games. You lose the essence of like how hard it is every day to go in and train hard and commit yourself every day, because you're almost on holiday when you're injured. You're not having to deal with that pressure every day, and that's sort of been. I had a tough season last year, a lot of pain, not playing much, on the bench a lot. Was at Barnsley not playing, played sort of 10 games in the Champ. And then went on loan to Scunthorpe there, and same again. I didn't really play. I sort of was coming on every week.
You lost yourself though, I think, because of the broken leg. I remember that period of time you had to work very hard. You just lost the essence of who you were. And I see it in golf. I was sitting with a young golfer this morning discussing where he got lost, and he's lost himself. He's had a few coaches now trying to change his swing. He's not doing this, he's not doing that. But if I took him back, he's 28. I took him back to 18. His best period, he said 18, 19. He said, no, I used to believe I was the best player on the course. You can't touch me. But then he was shamed for that voice. So getting him back there it's a journey to get back there. I think certainly owning that. Self-respect's a big thing, isn't it? I think Raheem Sterling the other day saying, what advice would he give a 15-year-old self? Number one, don't listen to anybody. Number two, don't listen to anybody. Number three, don't listen. People would say, that's arrogant, you should listen to people if they've got something to say. I think what he's saying is he knew what to do. He did it effortlessly at 15, 16. He used to dribble around people and score. And then all of a sudden, he stopped doing it.
Yeah, I think for me it was the fact that I got injured. I missed a big chunk of football. Like you said, I wasn't having to live with that pressure, or I wasn't having to go in every day and train hard. And you come back, I was at Barnsley, I was in the Championship. There's a few things in my head. It was like, what's the Championship going to be like? It's a big league, it's tough. I'm coming in on one of the highest transfer fees at Barnsley. It's a lot of pressure there, and I'd like 3 or 4 different things having to deal with sort of going into that. I started off really well. I scored against Middlesbrough in my first game, and I was doing well at the time, but that sort of just dropped off a bit and didn't really
didn't own that part of you, which the last 12 months has been amazing watching grip games and not apologise for who you are anymore. You're incredible 6'2" box to box midfielder who wants to run and fight and scrap, and then who's got great technique. You came through Fulham and Chelsea and Norwich, 3 absolute footballing sides, as if you haven't got technical ability. You can't have a schooling for 10 years at those clubs and not be technically sound.
Yeah, I think for sure the pain of last season, I would call it pain because it is pain. It's my life. It's my football career, and I saw it slipping away from me a bit because I've got this big move. I'm expected to go and do really well and kick on again, but I didn't really play. I went to Scunthorpe, didn't really play. It was tough. I had to look at myself in the mirror and go like, what's going wrong here? What am I not doing? I've got to own this, because there's 2 managers now that have said, it's 3 managers now that have said, no, you're not going to play in our team. And it's tough to take, but through that pain you grow and you get your edge and you get yourself back.
But and that's what I saw in you. People talk about gift. Your gift, the greatest gift I saw, and it's the greatest gift anyone can have. There is this desire to succeed so big that you'll keep coming back to the mirror. You'll keep coming. And the only people I work with are those people. business, it's the same. Look after 2 business leaders. They will let me dig and probe. They have this calling that's so big.
Yeah, that's
so much respect for that.
That's the work we do, and it's like looking in the mirror and it's the truth every time. It's bringing me back to the truth, because the truth hurts. Like, you hear that a lot. The truth hurts. It does, but people don't want to look in the mirror and go, "What's my part in this? Why am I not playing? Like, there's got to be a reason for me not playing. Am I going to blame the manager? Am I going to blame the system, the place, all these things?" And when I actually gripped it and went, "No, what am I not doing? Am I training as hard as I can be? Am I?"
Well, you were doing that. I think the greatest thing, and this is the great missing thing, I think. Not certainly not for the last 12 months, crikey. But before that, and I think many footballers worldwide are guilty is a strong word, but suffer with it. You didn't have the courage to be yourself. You didn't go, "This is me, and I'm going to go with this, with all I've got, and we'll see where the chips fall." The courage to go, "This is me. I'm not going to try and fit in or downsize myself or fit into the Chelsea way, or this is me." And I think that's the greatest testament I can give to you, is that you don't apologise for that anymore.
No, I think I needed that spell to go and not do so well, and really look at yourself, really strip it all back again. And then I said, this season I knew it was a big season for me, and you needed to come and hit the ground running and do well. And like that mindset I've got now is just like you said, I'm not gonna change, and for anyone, I'm not gonna make, I'm not gonna.
But even you've had opposition midfielders say to you, haven't you, this year, "Oh, calm down, mate. Stop being a bit busy. Calm down, mate."
Yeah, and I found it I was on loan at Scunthorpe last season. I went in there in January, and I found it because I was asking to play in reserve games, and I'm playing. So I'm on a picture this. I've just got to move to the Championship, Barnsley, big money.
Having scored a lot of goals at Luton Town in their first team, which is a big club.
Yeah, got on loan in January. Told you're going to come here and play. Scunthorpe were chasing. I think they were second or third at the time in the League One. I was going there to sort of go and play, get myself fit again, get going. And I wasn't playing, so I'm saying I want to go and play in reserve games and keep my fitness. So I'm playing in going to Sunderland away and playing there under 18s with Scunthorpe, and I'm up there on a minibus and thinking, you question yourself, going, what's going on? What's happened here? Where's it all?
Because you've got the money and you've got the car then.
Yeah,
salary's good.
It's good, and I'm on the pitch, and obviously the work we did was about go out there and just go out there and do what you do when you're a kid, go and outrun people, go and fight, go and battle. And I was doing that, and I found it in those games. I found that I found myself again, because it was, I'm playing against these guys and they're going, "Calm down, what are you doing? You're so busy. What are you doing? Just relax. It's only a reserve game." And I'm going, "Well, no."
Guys who hadn't got your career at that stage.
Yeah, and this is my life. This is my life. Every time I step on that pitch, I know that's my life, and I've had that taken away from me.